All right. Before we if we get started, I would take a motion to accept the minutes from our public forum on January 21st.
So moved.
First by Jonathan.
There was one edit that needed to be made.
Oh, please.
It said Mr. Cunningham for Tom Carden. It should just say Mr. Carden.
Okay.
It had his address.
Got it. You got that, Tammy? Okay. So with that change, I will take a motion to accept the minutes from January 21st.
So moved.
First by Jason. Second by Jonathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes 7-0. I'll accept the motion for the public minutes from January 28th.
So moved.
First by Jason. Second by Jonathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed 7-0. I will accept a motion for the non-public minutes from January 28th.
So moved.
First by Jason. Second by Jonathan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, great. At this time, I will accept a motion to move the superintendent search update, item number 4, to now. First by Jonathan.
Second.
Second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes 7-0. I think everyone in the room pretty much knows this process, but I will lay it out. It was a very extensive process that we had for our 2 candidates for our superintendent search. More of a behavioral interview style, multiple day process that they were put through the ringer, quite frankly. But I think it was well received. We had a great group of people who were part of the process to give their input and make their recommendation. And at that time, our recommendation from the committee was for Michael Flynn, who's here tonight, and I'll invite him to come up front. With that being said, the full board, so in that committee, we had 3 board members, Jonathan, Brenda, and myself were part of the committee. The full board got to meet Michael last night for a couple hours, real, back and forth questions. Michael gave an update on what he's done and where he's from and all that good stuff. So I thought it was a very comprehensive process. I think we made the right decision as a board, or going to make the right decision as a board, to lead the district for the future. What I would say, do you mind just giving a brief overview for the group, please?
First, just a couple things. I think, Austin, congratulations. I mean, you've been around. New Hampshire's a small state, and you're definitely a legend, so hopefully I get to retirement someday. Second is, I really got to thank my current board in Hopkinton. When I talked to them about pursuing this opportunity, they had full support for me, which goes a long way as you're making these challenging decisions in this profession. So thank you to them. And then really the committee that we did get to spend some time with over a 2-day period. It was definitely a different process. It definitely taught me some new things about myself and the work that we have going on. And last, I really have to thank Joe, one of the first people to call me during this process. Spent a couple days with him. We found out we're both hockey players, and I couldn't think of a better group of people to work together in a district. So I definitely look forward to being a teammate with you and working. It's something that I began looking into early on. I told the board last night. A little birdie told me about Austin retiring in July. So I began watching board meetings back then and really figured that it was a place that I wanted to work. The group behind me, which I appreciate them taking time out of their night to also show up, it's really the next team that I get to work with as well. And I can promise you that I am going to work my tail off for not only all the staff and the students, but more importantly, the community and all the stakeholders that are involved in the Derry School District. So I last want to thank the board last night for some real honest conversation. It's a challenging volunteer spot that you all sign up for, and getting to ask some of those hard questions back and forth. When I got home and told my wife, there was not a doubt that this is where I wanted to be. It made me feel really good. So thank you to everyone throughout the process, and I look forward to the work ahead.
Michael, thank you. Anybody on the board or anybody have any last questions for him? No? I'm probably, good thing, right?
I can't.
I think we've had enough of that for several weeks now. All right, then I will take a motion.
All right, I will make a motion to name Mr. Michael Flynn to the position of superintendent pending negotiation and board approval of a contract.
Second.
All right, we have a first by Michael, second by Brenda. Jason?
Yes.
Jenna? Yes. Jonathan? Yes. Jen?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Brenda? And chair votes yes. Congratulations.
Thank
Motion
you, guys.
passes
Thank you
7-0.
very much.
All right, I'm sure you're glad that process is over. Michael, thank you for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. All right. Next, we have our next charter school presentation. So come on up, guys.
Good evening, school board members, administrators, and guests. My name is Oliver Bride, and I'm here today on behalf of Next Charter School Community. I'm here tonight with my classmates Jade Mitchell and Anthony, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Casalucci, to share with you a bit about the work we do at Next. Ms. Whalen and Mr. A, who are staff members at our school, are also here, sitting over there. But in spirit of demonstrating that Next is a student-centered organization, they've elected to let us run the show tonight. For those of you who don't know, Next is a public charter high school that offers personalized learning opportunities with a focus on community engagement. And next, one of the habits of mine we focus on is self-knowledge. For me, self-knowledge is the process of just trying to discover yourself and grow and understand who you are and how you engage with the world. And earlier this year, Mr. Aquilina led a project called This I Believe, and here's the description to the project. Teenagers are constantly engaging in a process of self-discovery, but are often not provided structure outlets to this challenging thinking. This project will provide a structure for students to convey a significant guiding belief to an audience and to emphasize why they hold the belief and how they came to believe it. Students will investigate and discuss effective writing strategies specific to the essay format and identify and utilize effective organizational structures to complement the presentation of their beliefs. Tonight, Jade and Anthony, both first-year students, will share their essays they wrote for the class with you. Anthony?
There you go.
There we go. Okay. What do I believe? I believe in kindness. I believe that kindness is a virtue in so many more ways than one. It brings people together. It turns people around. It helps sad people return from a dark place. It helps recover when they are damaged, when they're broken. When somebody is mentally hurting with an open wound in their psyche, kindness can heal. Most importantly, kindness is inspiring. Kindness is the only way you can take your life back when it's driven into the ground. I came to believe this in middle school, 6th grade to be exact. At this time, my parents had recently divorced and were engaged in constant court battles and arguments. The pressure on me was immense. I had to keep the confused, depressed, and rage-filled fireball that was my little brother from snapping. At the same time, I was doing the same for me. It was a terrible time. School didn't make things any better for me or my parents. It stressed everyone out. My little brother, who had become attached to me at the hip, was a complete wreck, and so was I. Here's where the story really begins. I was sitting in my home economics class, and the class had their cooking rights taken away for their rowdiness, so we were forced to learn about laundry and knife safety, 2 things I was not interested in learning about. So I pulled out some paper and a pencil and sketched away. I remember sitting there, tearing up at the thought of how my life crumbled before my very eyes. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I heard a voice. This voice wasn't like others I'd heard at the time. It wasn't an annoyed whine. It wasn't a petty hey. It was a friendly hello. I looked up. This was probably the best decision I'd ever made in my life. I looked up to see a shorter, red-haired boy. He said, "What you drawing?" Those words changed me and my life. I responded somberly with, "I don't know, it's something, I guess." Just so happened to be a transformer. Wasn't passionate about many things back then, but I was a complete Transformers nerd. I could tell you what happened in all 4 seasons and 98 episodes airing from 1984 to 1987. See what I mean? Little did I know, he was too. We talked each other's ear off for the remainder of the class. As we talked, I came to figure out that he too had a troubled life. He told me about his various mental challenges and how he was trying to work on violent tendencies he had developed because of his less than ideal home life. Something that had become all too familiar to me. I was ignoring all of that though, because this was the first time in a long time that I felt a little happiness. We walked, talked, and talked. I could tell in his voice that he knew we were going to be best friends. We made plans to go over his house at some point. I got happier. I started not to come to school so sad anymore. I worked up the courage to talk to the guidance counselor, and my fear of talking to my parents about anything started to dwindle. I finally felt real happiness for the first time in a long time. I came home in a better than usual mood. When I got home, I sat on my bed thinking about our conversation. I started to cry, but these weren't sad tears like they had been for so long. No, they were happy ones. My little brother asked, "What's wrong?" I responded, "Nothing, Joey. Nothing at all." I proceeded to give him the biggest hug I've ever given him and told him it will get better. I promise. Even though I couldn't forgive my parents for the way they acted towards each other, our relationship slowly started to heal. Mom and Dad weren't always at each other's throats anymore, and my little brother's mental state got better. Things got better slowly, but surely they got better. I had my first true friend. I went over to my new friend's house all the time, and all we did was talk and talk and talk the day away. We'd play video games, show each other our Pokemon cards, and just talk. Before I met him, I felt trapped. But now that I've made a friend, I feel free. Most of all, though, I finally felt happy. Even now, things are better. Mom and Dad are back together and happy again. Me and my little brother get therapy to slowly heal what is broken. And I have so many more friends than I ever thought I could have. And it was all due to kindness. As a matter of fact, we're still friends to this day. He's helped me through a lot, and I've helped some in return. I regularly go to his house. We still talk and talk and talk. When my phone rings, it's either my parents or him. He still shows me just as much kindness as when I met him three years ago. 3 years ago, on September 20th, 2021, someone showed me kindness, and with that, I carried it as a core belief of my own. Kindness is a magical thing, and I now share this magic with everyone. Kindness is a second chance. This I believe.
I have to say that was very impressive. Your thoughts and just the way you presented it. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Is that your little brother back there? Yeah,
Hi, Joey.
I could see how proud he is of you when you were talking. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Next up is Jade Mitchell.
Is it on? Okay. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ because his sacrifice on the cross to atone for our sins is a token of his perfect love. His love is unconditional, unwavering, ever-present, steadfast, and unchanging. It does not depend on our actions, worthiness, or circumstances. Romans 8:39 says, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Jesus Christ our Lord. I believe this because God has sent Jesus to seek and save the lost. I thought I knew what was best for myself by befriending demons that I wasn't aware that I had. Every morning, small things that were magnified into big things were affecting everything I did. For years, I would spend my whole day on my phone with hours and hours going by in an endless scroll. It would take me hours to get out of bed. I felt completely drained, so I gave up on school and missed 70 days of school last year and had a tardy every day. Being home all the time, I would always think about what to eat next. Meals were no longer to fuel and nourish my body, but to fill a void. I felt lost and lifeless. I was contented in the darkness and never wanted a glimpse of the light because I never realized how bright it truly was. Summer had started, and I noticed my friends were starting to get a grip on their life, and I decided to give change a chance. It felt impossible to be changed, but I didn't want to feel the way I did anymore. I didn't know how to, and it brought me to one hope, God. I began reading the Bible every day, but it felt more like a routine than a connection. I was doubtful and questioned his presence, so I wanted to give up. I stopped reading the Bible and had faith about the size of a mustard seed, but I started a show called The Chosen, and it's about Jesus and his disciples. Philip said, "There's nowhere you can go, no heights you can climb to into your intellectual mind, no depths you can reach in your soul where God is not with you. Do you get it?" Matthew said, "But I don't feel him." During the scene, I was already paying attention more than usual, and what Matthew said about not feeling him is exactly how I felt. And the second he said that, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye right outside my window. It was a hummingbird looking directly at me. This marked a turning point for me. It felt like Christ flicking a light switch in my soul. It was as if a burden I was carrying forever lifted right off of me, and I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. This feeling of holiness made me want to lose passion for sin and redirect that passion to Christ. Satan had stolen my passion, but thankfully he couldn't steal my potential. The words in the Bible seemed to come alive, and he is his word. Getting to know Jesus more made me realize I need him. Him living an unfair life but leading a perfect, unsinful one, giving himself up for me when I don't deserve it fills me with hope. He teaches me everything wise and true. He knows how horrible adverse times are, but the battles are already won. He uses these trials to help me grow this faith, strength, forgiveness, and more. I know the Lord who makes no mistakes will make everything happen in his time. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Until Jesus returns and I can spend a peaceful eternity in his kingdom, I'm going to keep shining that same light that saved me by faith. And I will bring the blind, then this is a quote, "And I will bring the blind by a way they knew not. I will lead them in the path they have not known. I will make darkness light before them and crooked things straight. These things I will do unto them and not forsake them."
Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate it. It's very, very good. Thank you.
Now I would like to share a few experiences I've had at Next that have helped me develop a better sense of myself. So before coming here today, I was asked to talk about two specific classes. The first is a class called How to Be an American Citizen. For this class, we had to take the citizenships test. I think it was last year that there was a law passed making it mandatory for high school students to pass this test to graduate high school. So Next offered a class where students studied on the material and then took the test. For this class, I think it was a benefit for a lot of reasons. The main being that a public needs to be educated for society to function, and future voters being educated on the subjects of the foundations of our country and the laws and how our government works is really important. But this class also provided a good way for students to not only learn how they study, but ways to benefit in their studies so they can improve their studying habits. But then one I really want to touch on is college comp. For this class, seniors and I think a few juniors had to write a college composition essay. It was a very independent, student-driven class where you just did a big research paper on a subject of your choosing. We were given opportunities to get college credits as well as high school credits to finish up English we might have needed. It was a really good opportunity for students at Next that wanted to go to college to get that experience of a college class while still being in the comfort of Next and in their high school community. But also, even if for students that weren't going to college, getting this real life experience of writing this big essay paper and doing it all independently was really important. So yeah. Finally, I'd like to take a quick moment to give a shout out to this year's capstone partners. Each year, students at in their last year of high school are required to seek out an internship or work-based learning opportunity in the community. These experiences help bridge the gap between high school and whatever students have planned for their next steps. In a minute, I'll list the organizations that have hosted capstone students this year. In typical Next fashion, I'm going to ask you all to help me thank them by giving them a single unified clap after one another. So, thank you to Midgard Games, Gilbert H. Hood Middle School, Trenchcoat Minnis, Jeff Capital Mowing, Elated Canine, Parkland Medical Center, Bay System, Deep, Law Office of Andrew D. Mellors, Grinnell Elementary School, West Running Brook, and DerryCAM. Those were really good. Okay. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time. And does anyone have any questions?
So let's stay with the theme of this, I believe. I'd be interested in hearing what is it that you believe about Next Charter School and how that has helped you?
Wow. So Next has a lot of habits of mind, and the one that, it's funny because it's the one we're talking about, the one that I've definitely grown the most in is self-knowledge, and I would say communication too. But I think that self-knowledge is a habit of mine that is connected to all the rest of the others, because you can't grow in any area if you aren't aware of the growth you need to take or how to get to that point. I think that that is one of the most important things a school can teach you about, just understanding who you are, how you learn, how you function. Next is a lot of classes that help you learn who you are, just a lot of experiences to help you understand things and who you are. I'm a senior, so I've been here for 4 years. Over this time, I've just gotten to experience so much at Next that I wouldn't be able to experience otherwise. We go on all these field trips and we take all these classes and we're given all these opportunities to go out in the community or try new things. And without these opportunities, it's difficult to understand or even learn if you like and enjoy these things or if you want to try these things again and how you feel about them. If you're not out trying things, you won't learn. So I think that Next, just in general, does a really good job of getting students to try new things and get out so they can explore themselves.
I don't have a question. I have a comment. Thank you all for sharing your stories, and thank you for being vulnerable. Takes an extraordinary amount of courage to do so, especially in front of a room of mostly strangers. So kudos to you all. It's impressive, right? It's not easy to be vulnerable. It's not easy to share stories. It's never easy to share things that are personal and close to you. So exceptional job. You should be very proud of yourselves, and we really appreciate you coming up here and sharing your stories with us. So thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll open up delegations and individuals. So please come up to the mic, give your name and address for the record, and get 3 minutes.
Good evening, Derek Anderson, 50 Stark Road. Just wanted to talk a few minutes about achievement. Today in the New York Times, there's an article that described the most recent analysis of how well schools in America are making up for education losses due to the pandemic. The article referenced the Education Recovery Scorecard, and this is accessible at that name, educationrecoveryscorecard.org, which was created by researchers at Harvard and Stanford universities and showed where recovery stood as of spring of 2024. The report showed that our district, although still has some work to do in order to erase the losses during the pandemic, and that's mostly in math, which we all kind of expected. Several other districts around us fared very similar. Some had both math and reading losses. Some had very much both categories lost. Some were faring a little better. Across the state, our state is doing similar to Massachusetts, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Very different political dynamics, but fairly similar in their outcome. According to the report, our district as well as our state have done much better than other areas. And I think that's due in part to how quickly our district went back to in-person instruction. And it was a very difficult time for us to move to that so quickly, as well as the money that we invested in math and reading specialists. Some of the report's recommendations were states and districts should double down on catch-up efforts previously funded by federal relief. And I know that the district has included more math specialists into the budget. Second recommendation was engage community to tackle absenteeism. Now that area I'm not too sure about if Derry has as big of a problem as other areas. They did show that absenteeism has really made it difficult for those districts that lost the most during COVID. Teachers must inform parents when their child is not at grade level. And a citation they had showed that 90% of parents believe that their child is either at or above grade level. So there's a little misnomer there. Maybe a discussion overall. I know we have this discussion with our kids all the time that they need to be doing more book reading and staying off the electronics. And then the final recommendation was learn what is and what is not working. And again, it could be just simple as changing to real books versus electronics. And then I kind of thought back some of the changes we'd made, and one thing was homework. So now I'm the former board member that pushed to change the homework policy to avoid the overly burdensome busy work from being sent home every day. However, I think in some instances, the attempt to reduce to a more manageable yet effective homework turned into no homework at all. So it might be time to look at this again and decide if we need some targeted homework assignments, such as math fundamentals or side readings. I think this report kind of meshes nicely with the presentation Joe and Kim gave last meeting. It showed they made good strides past couple years, and especially this report was from would have been spring 2024, so we've had fall data, and that showed good gains. So I just wanted to thank the teachers and administrators that have helped move us forward since COVID, and the new plan you're rolling out, I think, is going to push us even further ahead. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Derek. Next, we have Mr. Henry. Pinkerton update.
All right, thank you, and thank you for allowing me to be late today. This is my first winter driving, and I made my first winter mistake today. I was too close to the side of my driveway when I backed out, and my car is in a snowbank now, so. Yeah.
Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah. So, thank you to Michael Leon for driving me here. So, we had our winter pep rally on Friday, and the winter dance was Saturday. Saturday was also all-state for jazz, the jazz band. Course selections are now open for all students. It's open till the 14th. This is for next school year. And tomorrow is Milli Vanilli, which is a annual competition where people lip sync. As a class officer, I am actually required to perform in it. So if anyone wants to see me make a fool of myself tomorrow, it's 6 p.m. and tickets are $5 at the Stockbridge. No. It's not just me.
Got to pay the $5.
Thank you.
Early release tomorrow?
Yes, early release tomorrow. That's right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it. Any questions for Anthony?
Yes, that's right. We are state champions. That is yet another state championship we have won this year.
All right. Ms. Kyle couldn't be here tonight, so we'll skip next charter school update and go to Jane with her business administrator update.
Okay, Cliff is actually going to put the presentation up on the screen. While we're waiting for that, I just wanted to follow up on, at the last board meeting, I brought to you the request to go out to bid for the repairs at Grinnell to do the roof work, and Brian Toner from ARM was here to do his presentation. The bids went out. We had 3 bids come back, and they ranged. And as you remember, you allowed us to go out to bid with a cap of $51,000 or not to exceed. We had 3 bids come back, and they ranged from $38,995 to $51,200. So I did talk to, the bids came directly to Jeremy and myself, and I talked to Brian, and all of the components on each of the bids were identical to the specs and qualifications, and all 3 of the companies have companies that have worked with ARM, so all are qualified, and we will be going with the low bidder, and that has not been awarded to them yet, but I just wanted to bring it to you to let you know, so that's why I'm just not mentioning them, since they don't know yet. So we came in under what the capacity was, so we're pretty happy about that. Okay, so Cliff has up on the board, or on the screen, I just wanted to present to you, we start with general fund revenues, and we put some notations on the bottom because I just wanted to recognize some of the areas. I've mentioned it before about special education aid, and as you know, we received $1.5 million, and we actually had an entitlement or an anticipated amount that we were entitled to of $2.3 million. So I want to make sure I acknowledge Laura and Sue Hebert and all of her staff that work on getting those reimbursements, because without them doing all of that work, we would never get reimbursements. It's not just something that you're given. You have to do a lot of paperwork for that, and they've done an outstanding job. But what I wanted to point out is the percentage that we received, or that was prorated by the state for everybody, not just Derry. So we received 66.9%. In 2004, our prorated amount from the state was 87%, and in 2023, our prorated amount was 98.3%. So I think that that's important when we talk about loss of revenue, because when we have that loss of revenue, it increases what our net assessment and how much we have to raise through local taxation. So as you can see, so it's down about 20% of what we received on our entitlement, which I thought that was important. We did also, though, receive differential special education aid, and that's for Derry students who attend charter schools and require special education. So due to that, that was from the 23-24 fiscal year, and we received $96,827 for that. So I just wanted to separate those out so that you would know why there was additional funds in there. We also were right on track with receiving our tuition for adult ed and DEEP, and really the miscellaneous, everything's kind of right in line where we thought we were going to be. So right now, I put in the unreserved fund balance. That's what we had for the end of June 30th of 2024, and I put that in there, and we need to do that for revenues to make it balanced. But I'm going to show you on our subsequent sheets where we are as far as our proposed unreserved fund balance. Our next page, these are general funds by object code. Object code are identifiers, things to look for, such as broken down by staff, tuition, benefits, transportation, property maintenance, all of those areas. So you can see that we have it broken down by what our budget is, our year-to-date activity, what we have encumbered. Encumbrances mean monies for things that you know you're obligated to. For example, on your salaries, people who have signed a contract for the year, we encumber all those funds so that we know how much money we're going to spend. Now, while you see a balance there of $1.6 million, I want to make sure that I highlight that we've had quite a few positions unfilled this year, and unfortunately, poor Laura, many of them have been in her departments, and some of them have stayed unfilled, and some of them Laura has had to fill with contracted service providers that are very costly, but those don't hit a salary account, they hit contracted services. So while you're seeing a surplus in salaries, there's also expenditures that are hitting other areas. And so, of course, health and dental would go along with, if you're not filling positions, you're not spending as much in your benefits as well. I also I did attach, or another one of the handouts is for the Pinkerton. Laura spends a lot of time going through those bills that we get quarterly. She looks at every single student. She looks for the dates and a lot of hers, and she came back with the packet, because it's a lot of pages for that invoice, and it's all sticky tabbed, and she's got notes on all of it. And we sent it back to Pinkerton, and so they sent us a revision with corrections, and we took those credits on the bill. So I want to thank Laura for all your hard work on that. And so you can see where we are on Pinkerton, and also our transportation, utilities, and you can see where we are on that. And so right now, we have $2.3 million that has not been spent or encumbered on the expense line. Now, we are still looking to fill all of those positions, particularly because they are speech language, psychologists, special education teachers. Those are our big areas that we're trying to fill. So if anybody out there listening, Laura could use you. Apply away. She'd love to interview you. And then the next page is general fund expenditures by function code, and breaking down things by function code is really breaking it down by department. So general education, special education, my office, superintendent office, transportation, maintenance, and this is just another way of breaking down what I just showed you in the prior spreadsheet. Just a different way to show you. And then the next spreadsheet is just food service. We wanted to kind of give you a highlight of where we are for food service. And while we are showing that we have more expenditures than we do revenue, some of it is a timing piece based on our federal reimbursement we had just submitted, so those aren't showing. And also, we do have quite a bit of inventory because Christina Lebelzik is, I would say she is the greatest of all time when it comes to ordering commodities from the state, because she's able to purchase foods that are very low cost to us in order to still provide a great product of fresh fruits and vegetables and meat products. So also with food service, we have had a surplus in our food service account since the end of COVID. During COVID, because all students were free, almost every child was eating breakfast and lunch every day. That was a lot of sales. The reimbursable rate that we receive from federal funds is greater than what we can get when we are charging students who are not on free or reduced. That caused the district to have a surplus, and you can only have an average of 3 months surplus in your coffers. And right now we are in our second year of a spend down plan. Now, unfortunately, there's rules to how we can spend down those funds. And you cannot pay off student debt with those funds. You cannot do a lot of things with those funds. So they are very specific. And Austin and Christina and we had to put together a plan, and we are in the second year of a spend down plan. You can replace equipment, which we've done. Our van that was over 20 years old, I don't even think it was running this summer. Maintenance struggled to get it going. We replaced the van because we have to transport a lot of food in between our schools. So we're working on that spend down plan. So when you see that the food service program is in the red right now, we have a surplus as well that we have to spend down. Okay, so now we move on to the unassigned fund balance. This is the part everybody likes. This is obviously just an estimate. We start with last year's unreserved fund balance. You can see in 23-24 that the board voted to retain $1.4 million. And so our total year-end fund balance, when you combine them, was $2.4 million. Now you go into the new year of 24-25, you calculate what our revenues are, what our anticipated revenues are, what we've already expended, and then we have to calculate in our expenditures that we carried over from last year. And those were things that purchase orders were open and invoices hadn't come in yet or the work hadn't been completed. So you have to roll those over into the next fiscal year, and that's what the $913,000 is. So the $913,000 is so far what we've paid on that. And when you look at the 23-24 encumbrances, we rolled over $1.2 million in encumbrances. So far we've paid out $913,000 of that. And then right now we have $48,546,000 in encumbrances. That includes salaries, Pinkerton, transportation, all of those areas. And so the total fund balance at this point would be $4,152,000. And I left the line blank under less retained because the board has not voted to retain any funds for next year. You normally don't do that in somewhere around July when I've calculated out. And again, none of these are audited. These are just estimates that myself, Steve Schaefer, and Glenn Simons have worked on. I wanted to show you food service. I always think this is interesting because a lot of our funding comes from a lot of Laura's funding, a lot of Kim's funding for grants. A lot of it's contingent on what our free and reduced numbers are, and you can see in this chart, this was as of last week, so that you can see what the total of free and reduced percentages. So if you look at East Derry, 11.99%, Barca's 18.42%, Gilbert H. Hood combined with Next is 17.97%, Grinnell 23.62%, South Range 25.7%, and West Running Brook 18.89%. So what that means is that's the percentage of the number of students that have been approved for free meals. And then you could see our number of reduced students per school and the percentages there. Grinnell has the highest amount of students who've been approved for reduced meals. And out of all of the students that we have 730 students that have qualified for either free or reduced meals. And we have 2,275 students who are signed up as paid students. What I'd like to also point out is direct certified. That's important because 297 students of the 568 free students, those are direct certified from the state. So they actually don't have to fill out an application. Christina is given notification about those students because they're applying directly. They have other benefits through the state, and those automatically come on for us for the school district with no application necessary. And of the people who have applied, 146 were denied for free or reduced. And then I would like to move on, just giving some updates. I'm trying to put in some things, having Jeremy and Christina both have areas of the update so they can highlight what they're working on in their departments. And Christina wanted to highlight her new Frazil slushy machines that she just got. And they actually, while it obviously looks like a slushy machine, and it is, we tried them out, they are part of what's called a smart snack. So many years ago, there were a list of smart snacks that came out, and you could only sell snacks that were approved through those listings based on their fat content, salt, sugar, all of those things, low in calories, to be able to serve or sell them in school. This smart snack slushy machine complies with all of those, and they can actually barely keep up with it right now in the schools. So it's been a great asset, and the kids are loving it. We also just wanted to say that our unpaid debt is at $16,566. They offer payment plans, so, don't be shy. If you have an outstanding balance, call Christina Lebelzik or Melissa at the Food Service Department, and they're happy to set up a payment plan for you. Of the $16,000, 16.9% of that is due to for families who are on free status. That doesn't mean they were free when they went into debt. They probably had debt and then applied for free and then were approved. 6.53% of that 16,000 are families who've been approved for reduced, and the remaining amount of 76.56% are parents who do not qualify for free or reduced. that is outstanding. So again, they have payment plans. Christina LaBelle's that can be reached in the food service department if anybody would like to reach out to her or have a question about that. There's multiple ways to pay. They could pay in the school with a check, cash, online through myschoolbucks.com. Free and reduced applications are on our website as well, and they keep paper copies in the schools.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
If you scroll back to the numbers of the percentages and the numbers for free and reduced, I know that there was, every year there's a big push. How do these numbers different from last year? Did we get any more applications? Did we hit the, I don't want to say the target, but did we hit it getting out to get more people to turn their paperwork in? I know we push every year, but.
It's about the same. I know that she, and first of all, let me apologize for the email snafu last week or the week before. What I can say about that is it actually, when there's always some sunshine to the rain, she had 3 or 4 people who called who didn't know what was going on with that email, and they applied for free and reduced and they were approved. So, it kind of worked out good for their favor and ours. And we won't make the email mistake again. However, sometimes it's just the oddest ways of reach out. We do put them out there. We make sure that they do reach out when they're looking at accounts where balances are starting to get high, offer them to apply. She sends them in every week. I've been approving free and reduced. And if 5 are coming to me for signature, 1 is denied. So the people who are filling them out are qualifying. And I always wonder, how long have they been in our district this year? Did their circumstance just change? And some of them are coming in with no income at all, and it's the majority of people are losing employment. So I think she's doing a good job of outreach, and so we are about the same as we have been.
Hey, Jane, I just want to say, looking at the numbers, the 16,000, what was our high point? Wasn't it like 40,000?
Yes.
So you guys did a hell of a job in whatever it's been, a year and a half, or how long it's been, playing debt collector. We appreciate that, and you've done a really good job at that. And I know it's a lot of hard work. I know I get the emails when $2 is negative on my daughter's account.
We're not coming after you for 2.
Yeah, no,
but
I definitely appreciate that and all the hard work it takes to collect AR, because it's not easy sometimes. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
I'll
your team.
pass that along to Christina and Melissa. And then if we move along to facilities, like I said, they're going to be starting that work at Grinnell as soon as they can, depending on the snow on the roof. But this report is from Jeremy and Rob, and I'd like to highlight some of the things that they've been working on. Ernest P. Barker, they had a fire pump controller that they were having issues with because I kept having low pressure. Their vendor Impact Fire went out there last week, and was able to replace the valve. So, they try to put in pictures so that people can see what it is exactly that they're working on. Derry Village had a significant roof leak, and it did soak a couple of classrooms over there. So they had to go over and clean up. They were able to, Brian Toner from ARM went out there, was able to temporarily patch the roof. Obviously, even though we're not occupying the building, we have to ensure the integrity of that building. So that was on February 4th that they were able to make those repairs. We have a picture there to show you where they were working on that. Gilbert H. Head sprinkler, that did burst, I believe, on January 21st. That issue has been resolved between Jeremy, Rob. They had Honeywell come over and take a look at what was going on in the ceiling. They were able to determine the cause of that, and he does not see that issue would ever happen in the future based on what it was that they saw. We want to obviously, I think Austin already thanked them in his report, but fire department, along with all of the staff, of course, in the building, but thank the fire department that were cleaning out that cafeteria, as well as our staff. ServPro came in, the custodians. So we also had Primex there, and they sent an adjuster so that they will be paying for the cost of ceiling repair, the ServPro services. We had a security camera that got flooded. That was being replaced. So they're working on all of that. Wanted to highlight West Running Brick door was replaced, door number 18. And I wanted to acknowledge that I realized doors and windows are on our warrant article for maintenance. However, some of these things can't wait until summertime to have that project done, it becomes a safety issue. So this door was replaced in the last couple of weeks. And we switched over from School Dude last year to a software called FMX. FMX does all our work schedules for Cliff's department for technology, as well as all of our facilities work orders and also our facility scheduling. So to highlight our facilities department, they have completed 598 work orders from July 1 until February 4th. The way the system works now is that any teacher can put in a work order directly, so we don't have to overwhelm the secretaries having to key them all in. They get electronically routed to myself and Rob and Jeremy, and from there, Rob and Jeremy delegate the work orders out to whoever has a specialty in their department of what they're best at, and they go out and take care of the work orders. So the FMX actually has charts that you can print out, and I wanted to highlight some of the areas where you can see where the types of requests are coming in for them to do, and how many of those requests. So you can see a lot of it is plumbing, electrical, furniture, just as asking them to move furniture, or furniture is broken and they're asking for furniture to be repaired. Heating and cooling, working on keys and doors, and safety and security, and also that you can see the number of work orders that were created since July 1. And you can see, obviously, in the summer, when the teachers came back, and this was a new system for them, August and September was really large. And then back up to January, we had a lot of heating and cooling requests that came in. And as you know, we've just recently finished our Honeywell project, and Hood was one of the last to finish their project. So there's a lot of adjusting of controls, and that just kind of plays itself out with the temperatures. So I think we're in a good place with those, but just wanted to highlight that for everybody. Any questions?
I do. Just one. Are we at a place where we can see some sort of our estimate for the wall at East Derry for next meeting, or is that something that has to wait?
Jeremy is actually going to have to reach out to them to get the estimate, but I feel comfortable if you wanted to do the wall, if you wanted us to get an estimate and bring it to the board for a review, but I feel comfortable doing it in this fiscal year, based on our numbers that we worked on last week.
That's great. If you don't mind, that'd be awesome for March 11th. Was there another item from the budget meetings that I'm missing? Or are we good? I forget.
I think someone had asked about the steps at Hood, but we haven't.
Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you.
Yep. So do you want me to just bring back the wall? Okay, thank you.
I have a question, just with regards to Derry Village. Have there been any discussions in the facilities committee with regards to kind of short-term, long-term plan for the building, property? I know we talked about it, potential repurposing or maybe moving SAU or things like that, but has there been any traction with any discussions there? Is that kind of just on the back burner for now?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and clearly it came up at one of our PTA meetings in January. So the way I look at it is priority number one is trying to get this bond passed, and that's what we're really focusing our efforts on. I think the next board that comes on is going to have to really tackle and dig in on that project. And I know Michael mentioned some ideas during our facilities meeting about regarding that. But like we said last meeting, we had people come through in December. It was actually election day.
Yeah.
They came through. So we said we'd reconvene in the spring to see whether it's people from the town, and there was some town people came through. So they're doing their due diligence and see if there's something that works for them. So we've had areas of kind of hitting, but with nothing that's concrete. But I think really the priority has been the bond and really focusing on that. And I think you guys, you and Michael, clearly, and Brenda, we'll be back, and we should really make that a real priority, the top priority after the bond passes. I think there's a lot of good ideas on the table. I think the real challenge is money. when you guys dig in and figure it out. It's going to be a real challenge if you want to keep the building, and how do you keep it from a money perspective. That's just my personal opinion, but there's obviously a lot of different uses that are on the table, but I would suspect the next board should really tackle that as the next priority of concern. So the one thing we did talk about is, just to kind of let people know from a numbers perspective, the original estimate to carry the building was $60,000. That's no longer the case. I think it's 22, Jane, the carrying cost now, based on?
Somewhere, because we're just keeping the heat at non-freezing and...
So from that perspective, the news is much better. You know, when the carrying costs are cut by 2/3, which is helpful. Obviously, it's not helpful when things start to falter, and we have to...
Yeah, that's kind of what
Yeah.
prompted the
But
question.
it's a very good
right?
question, and I think, and in all honesty, I think it's something that needs to get tackled as priority number one next session.
Yeah, I think when, we sit down with the next board, to set goals for the next year, I think that that's a goal that we have to have, is to make a determination as to the future of Derry Village. And we did talk about the idea of forming some sort of study committee to look at all of the options and, come up with a recommendation by some point, later this year. That's one option that we could, talk about when the time comes.
Sounds good.
And David, you had reached out to me before about Primex and the insurance coverage on that building, and I spoke with Michelle yesterday from Primex, asking her do they break it down by each of our facilities so that we know exactly how much it costs. And she said they don't, but she'll see if there is a way that they can try to calculate it for us. But that building will have to be insured until we no longer own it. So we will keep the coverage on it. And as a note, we do have somebody from maintenance goes in that building every day. They check every classroom, and that's how they saw the water leak. I also notified you over the weekend. Derry Fire Department has been going in and using it for training, and Derry PD will also be using it on occasion for training. So it's kind of nice that there's other people also from the town who are also looking in the building in case something goes on when we're not in there. But it's checked every day.
All right, Jane, thank you very much. Next is personnel. No personnel tonight. Yeah. I guess your update, Austin.
Okay, I am going to defer the start of my superintendent report to our Assistant Superintendent, Joe Crawford.
Thank you. Hey, just want to say a big thank you to the board and members of the committee for the opportunity to apply for the position. It was daunting, but eye-opening and rewarding. I also can't say enough about my my impressions of Mike. I think he is going to be outstanding. He has been really open. As he shared with you tonight, we've had some conversations, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. I know that there are a lot of people in the community that have been really supportive of me, and I have full confidence in Mike, and I really hope that they will all come out and support Mike, because I think he's going to do a great job. So just wanted to put that out there. I'm excited about what comes next.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, the difference between me and Joe, it's always off the top of his head. Me, it's a 30 font right in front of my eyes, so I don't go off script. But thank you, Joe. I want to take this opportunity to applaud you, Joe, our current Assistant Superintendent, for putting your name forward to the school board for consideration. It's not an easy thing to go through. I am looking forward to hear about that process, because I have never been through a process that was that in-depth from what I can tell from the outside. But I wish Joe the best of luck in his future plans. We've been talking a lot. I know currently Joe is thinking that he is going to be staying on board unless some kind of an amazing thing comes down the pike. And I think that shows a lot about his character and his ability to accept circumstances and move on from there. And with all of that, I want to congratulate Mike Flynn for being chosen as our next superintendent here in Derry. I, too, have some history with Mike. knowing him from the past. He was with the Timberlane School District for a while, and I think he's going to be wonderful. He's going to be a person that's going to be the staff and the students are going to get to know. He's easy to talk to, and I do believe that he's going to be a great leader as well. And I want Mike to know, if he ends up watching this when he is at home, that Joe and I will work with him over these next few months to make sure that his transition is as smooth as possible. I want to leave the Derry Cooperative School District in good hands and in the best position possible to continue to move forward. So once again, I want to congratulate Mike and let him know that we will be talking soon. Just a quick kindergarten enrollment update. There are 2/3 of the seats already filled, which is just outstanding. It seems like our emphasis on letting people know that your seat at your child's neighborhood school is on a first-come, first-served basis has been working. We have approximately 100 seats remaining at this time. Again, if you have a child of kindergarten age here in Derry, there will be a seat for him or her. But I do want to thank everyone for not procrastinating and putting your, registering your child as soon as possible. And for those of you who have not done that yet, I will reemphasize again, even if you're not sure, it would be better to register now. You can always make that determination and remove your child's name at a later date. But to make sure that they have a seat, and they have a seat at the neighborhood school, my suggestion is you don't wait and you sign up your child as soon as possible. And I thank you all for that.
Thank you, Austin. Joe, any questions?
Austin, I just want to know, are you passing on your Polar Express cap to Mike as well, or?
Well, my thought process was that I would pass on a lot of things to the next superintendent. For instance, Derry Village Rotary is, they tried to get it out of me this morning, but I held firm. And so they will know when I go there next week. And part of my talks to Mike will be some of the things that I've been doing. I don't know. He doesn't look like the grandfather from Up, for instance, so he might not want to dress up as that at Halloween. But, you know, I don't know where his acting skills are at. And that's one thing that I'm sure Joe is very happy about, that he won't be looking to do that. But you never know. It could be delegated to him from his new boss, so we'll have to wait and see. But we will fill him in. Joe and I want to work closely together, and especially Joe, where he's going to most likely be here. And they've already talked a lot, and I can tell that they're already developing a rapport, and I think that's fantastic. And it's a testament to both of them. And we will let him know a little bit of everything that we've been doing. But of course, he's going to be his own person, and he will choose how he wants to move forward with things. But yeah, he'll probably get sick and tired of hearing all the things that we've been doing and all that before too long.
All right, Joe, I want to thank you for the words and your willingness to hang around, because this district will do well with you here, and you're very well liked. I told you before, you're one of the most genuine guys I've ever known. So you're going to be. I'm super happy that you're staying, and I know you will be a superintendent sooner rather than later. But I think the district is in good hands with you and Mike at the helm, and I look forward to seeing that from afar. So thank you. All right. FYI, so we have the February enrollment report. Unless any questions or for the team, I won't spend any time on that. Just a couple updates. So for the candidate forum, we have the school candidates on Wednesday, February 19th at the Derry Opera House starting at 6:30. I think we have 6 candidates, 3 for the 3-year seat and 3 for the 2-year seat. So I look forward to seeing that, and you know, it's always a good opportunity to ask questions and see how you feel about who's running for office. So it's really a good opportunity to get to know people who are running. The town candidates are the next night, February 20th, same place, Derry Opera House, 6:30 p.m. Off the top of my head, I think there's 1 contested race. There's 4 candidates, I believe, for the council at large. I don't recall, and I'm sure there's also library positions that you'll see them there as well. So obviously encourage everyone to show up and ask questions. It's really important to make sure you're making the right decisions on election day based on how you feel the needs are of this town. Any questions, concerns, anyone know? Good. All right, so tonight, in committees is really the meat of the meeting for tonight is how are we gonna present this capital bond over the next 4 weeks from today, right? And what opportunities, what we can do to get that message out in greater form than we did last year, and hopefully hit the audiences that don't watch these meetings, don't show up to, you know, deliberative sessions and all that. So I'm gonna let Michael drive the bus here on this process, and we'll kind of give you guys the outline of what we talked about last week's meeting, and see what everyone's availability is, and kind of figure out what we all can do to chip in to make this happen.
So yeah, the committee met last Friday, and I think as we're probably all well aware, we only have 5 weeks from today until Election Day. We only meet once more, and one of those 5 weeks is vacation. So we're really down to crunch time here. So I know Cliff has put together a double-sided handout and also a series of videos, you know, including a few of the board members. I think there's one with Jeremy. And Joe actually just sent out late this afternoon kind of a schedule of getting those things out. You know, they're going to be putting them out regularly, both through Parent Square and all the district's social media channels. And we discussed a wide-ranging, number of places where we can reach out to get these things out. I know we had talked about preschools, nursing homes, Marion Garish, the town. I don't know, Joe, do you have kind of an update on where we are with all those various groups?
Although I think he's only got a few weeks left, Dave, Karen, and I have been talking about the town. We'll certainly put out our whatever flyer that we kind of finalize. I know we've got a couple different versions that we're looking at. They'll share that out with their groups. Same with Marion Garish. We do have contact information for all the local preschools that we'll be sending those out to them as well. And yeah, so I mean that's all still in the works. Once we leave this meeting tonight with a defined flyer, and everybody says this is kind of the message that we want to get out, I think we're ready to hit the ground running tomorrow.
So I have a question on the town side. So, like, if you want to get planning board messages, you can sign up for the planning board newsletter and get emails. Is that the kind of distribution we're talking about? People who sign up to different areas of the town and they get emails on whatever meetings and all that kind of stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
That's my understanding, but Dave also shared that he has several dozen groups that are probably really email lists, but connected to different group organizations in the community, and he would push it out through all of those group distribution lists.
And did we discuss anything? You know, I know we had talked about any of those organizations. You know, if they have meetings, if they wanted one or more of us to come and speak to this at their meetings. I think we should probably, put out that out there as well, because I think, we'd be willing to, have some members go to really any meeting.
Yeah, like what I would say too, I know you had got a list of preschools in town, so I'm more than happy to, if I can, split the list with you or whatever, or however the process may be. So I know not every organization kind of wants to come there and give a spiel, but if we can at least get the flyer there, and they can do some sort of distribution as, parents or whoever come through with the organization, but I'm more than happy to do a 10-minute spiel if we need, or whatever, if we have opportunities of those different organizations. I know we talked about the DEA, right? So you'll work with the DEA, see where they're at. I remember that's definitely and then Jane talked about you meeting with Nutfield, right? We've already got feelers out there.
Yes, they said that we're able to go there and do a presentation to their residents.
Okay,
Just need to pick a date.
great. Austin did Derry Rotary this morning. Derry Village Rotary this morning. You're going to look into the other Derry organization, right?
Some people to reach out to.
Okay.
And
okay.
I think, from there, we really want to open it up to the full group of, what everybody's bandwidth is, over the next 4 weeks to, contribute to the effort. I know we had talked about the possibility of doing like office hours at, local coffee shops, things like that. I mean, we really want to get a feel of, all 7 of us, what we're willing to commit to. If anybody else has any other ideas, thinking outside the box that you've kind of had in the back of your head.
I think the big one too is, in the limited time I was doing it, I got about a half dozen community members to do flyers in their neighborhood. So I'm going to try to expand that list beyond the people I've talked to already. So that will help. It's really just walk down your street, talk to your neighbors. It's not like it's not a heavy lift. It's really 20 to 30 houses in your neighborhood or whatever. One individual offered to do 70 to 80 in his neighborhood. So I started that process. I think, we all know people who are willing to help out. And if it's not a heavy lift to just do their neighborhood, we're not asking them to drive around town, or it's literally you walking your dog, you have a conversation. I know it's winter, but still, it might be some door knocking involved with that. But
Yeah. I mean, the admin will provide as many copies of the flyer as you want to take. So yeah, I mean, if you have people that are willing to distribute them, groups that you're a part of, that's one of the big things we talked about.
And I know one of the other things we talked about, and I think it was your idea, informal conversation, is really the 7 of us try to hit 50 to 100 people ourselves that normally don't come to these meetings, or people that maybe aren't really paying attention to what's going on in town, even if it's your kid's softball, basketball game or whatever, that kind of thing. I think if we could commit to that as a board, that would be helpful. So I mean, obviously, we'll give you the materials. We're not going to sit here and check in and see if you do it or not, but it's more of the honor system. I think we'd really appreciate if the board would commit to that kind of number ourselves as well.
So does anybody else have any input on what your commitment levels are, what your, what you can contribute?
I'm happy. All right. I'm happy to do the coffee shop hour. I know that the coffee factory is always pretty welcoming of, having meetings, and they have a big enough space that it wouldn't, infringe on anything. I can do that on probably, Tuesdays or Thursdays. Mornings are my availability. I'm just a little afraid, I'm not as knowledgeable, so I would need a little bit more of a, obviously my, cheat sheet to go off of, and a pet top just to be up on it to answer any questions. But, and I'm certainly, I walk my neighborhood every day, so I'll go stick something in everybody's mailbox. Although, wait, that's illegal. That's illegal. I'll go up and put it on their door. So, I'm happy to do that. I can also, the preschool thing, I like little kids. I'll just go talk to them.
I'm happy to have some office hours via Zoom or something and put some stuff out there. I did that during campaigns. There's not always a lot of traction, but certainly happy to put myself out there. I think in conversations and in social media and things, we always say, hey, we're always available. Here's email address, here's telephone number, reach out. You know, I think the board and the administration as a whole does a pretty good job of getting information out there. Ultimately, we can only do so much. People do need to help themselves get educated with regards to what's happening. I know it's a tense subject and a tense topic, but this does impact everybody, right? It impacts our tax, it impacts what's happening in the buildings. This is kind of my PSA for people to get involved. Now is the time. If you haven't been paying attention, start paying attention. Reach out to the administration, reach out to board members, ask the questions, ask the tough questions. But ultimately, we can only do so much. I think last year we did a lot. We have meetings, we have community forums, we have public hearings, we have deliberative sessions, we have, you know, meetings every other week. You know, folks need to get involved and take some ownership and take some action as to what's happening in town and do a little bit of due diligence on their end as well. So I'm happy to, you know, all of our contact info is on the SAU website. Happy to have a conversation with anybody anytime. I can certainly set up some time via Zoom to be available if people want to pop on and ask questions. But, you know, if there's specific things that you say, hey, we want this target, I'm happy to go meet with somebody. If Joe or somebody from the administration has time set up, you know, we did the PTSA meetings.
I mean, I would say that too. I mean, spread the word. Our email addresses, they're all on the website. And I think, we're all very responsive. If anybody has any questions about, what we're voting on, really anything at all, just reach out to us, on your own time. We're more than willing to, have a conversation with you, get on the phone with you. So you just got to reach out.
About a month ago, David and I had this conversation about what we could do. I talked to him about the coffee shops, but I've also reached out to people who don't have children. A lot of people, at least 50 already. People who may be the people who say no, who don't necessarily hear what's needed. I've reached out to people, a little nervous, but they've been responsive. So I did what I told you I would do, and will continue to do that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is it worth looking into some of the events or whatever that are held at Marion Garish? What's the senior event that's there where they work with the kids at Next to help them with their technology, and I can't remember the name of it now.
Man, if only someone from Next was here.
The
Wi-Fi Cafe. Yes.
Cafe.
Right. So, but that was the first thing that came to my mind, is having something like if somebody could go either before or after to one of like the Wi-Fi Cafe, or I don't know, a bingo night, something that, obviously trying to get, I don't know, everybody in my social circle in this town knows everything that's going on. So for me I don't even have 50 people to reach out to for that, but to go to a place that people are already congregated and kind of catch them while they're there, that is a thought.
Joe, you had already spoken with Marion Garish about distributing the flyer, right? So that's...
Yeah, so Sarah from Marion Garish had said that they would post and leave some flyers out for people, but they'll also distribute it to their, I think they have like listservs and groups. But I don't think it's a bad idea to, show up at some of these events maybe and just hand them out.
If they have events where it makes sense for us to show up.
Yeah, Marion
People have to
Garish is a wonderful organization that works hand in hand with the schools, so I think that they've always been really a great partner. We were just talking about, although we will be sending out this information through Parent Square to all of our parents, if people think that physical flyers, pieces of paper are more, we can stand outside at parent pickup and drop off, and I think we can probably hand them to parents as they come. I don't think it's just a informational, like, we want people to know. So yeah, we can, it's kind of doubling down because they're also going to get the Parent Square message, but I don't know how many people read. I hope they all read
that could
all the
have some
Parent Squares.
impact, because I mean, I know, we get a lot of Parent Square messages and you tend to gloss over them sometimes, important ones.
I think on that note, I think we just learned our lesson too. If you email somebody 8 times, then they might call and ask a question about something. And so yes, on that topic, I mean, one of the conversations we had during facilities was sort of just being on the board and being sort of this energetic force for this cause that we're really trying to pass here. I know myself, my social networks right now are really my kids' social networks. And so I have to be that person at pick up and drop off now. And I think when people see me, the very small amount of people that I do interact with on those passerbying, they know that I'm going to mention something about the school board or probably the bond too. And so maybe people are getting tired of that, but that's the amount of energy and electricity, I guess, I'm trying to bring to this. And I think while, and maybe I don't have any data to support what I'm about to say, but I do think that while it's great to do Zoom, and we know that people don't tend to log into those things, these things happen very much more organically. And I think it's really important to, and we talked about this during facilities, to come up with a follow-up plan as well about, okay, we know that there's an election. When are you going to get there? What's your schedule like that day? What's your plan for the day? Are you going to do it before work or after work? Those are the types of conversations that I'm having with people. I don't have the network that Brenda does either, but I'm trying to do it in my small way.
I will say, when we were in facilities, Cliff, our hit rate for people who open up those Parent Square emails, I forget, was it 80%? He tracks it. It was 80% that people actually open the email up and look at what's being presented. 80% to open it and delete. Maybe it's better than just delete. But that was encouraging. That's why when we talked about paper and email, that was a little encouraging that we did actually have a pretty good hit rate of people that open it up.
So, and to the Zoom, there's a market there. Even if it's one person that signs on to a Zoom, there's a market of people that will sign into a Zoom. They'll listen. Maybe they're not, you can't see them because they're listening in their car, on their drive to wherever. And if it's one person or 2 people, that's 1 or 2 more people that you haven't talked to before. I don't think it's something that you shouldn't do. If you're able to do that, I think it has value, whether it's 1 or 2 people. And they share the message, right?
I have no problem taking 50 to 100 flyers and passing them out, and however. I'd sign up to go to Birch Heights and do that. I also think Frost Fest is coming up this Saturday as well, so I think that's a good opportunity if you're out and just people recognize you or not, even just to, I think this issue is too important not to mention, and if you're out in the community, again, I think an extension of your civic duty is to participate and be well informed, and so I think that's part of this as well, as get it out in as many hands as possible. And so I would have no problem taking 50 flyers this weekend and seeing what I can do. I also think even reaching out to the Boys and Girls Club, again, I know that's another extension of families, but and then even I think even within the schools is also seeing if our after school or before and after school programs would also hand out these flyers as well. I think would be another opportunity. So yeah, I know there's I will even, and I may regret saying this, but I'll even go out there and hold a sign if someone wants to join me for a couple hours. Again, this is something I believe strongly in and have for the last 4 years. So it's something that I really strongly would like to see passed as well. And so I will do as much as I can as in the days that are numbered before I'm no longer on the school board. But feel free to reach out to me if you want to set up a time. I'll reach out to Birch Heights, see when they have availability, and if anyone else wants to join me, I'll also reach out to the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah,
I can join you, Jonathan. If you get contacts, let me know. I'm happy to tag along.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking during facilities, just looking at Facebook. I think the activities director at Birch Heights was reaching out and asking about different events that people had like ideas that they could funnel door. So I forget her name, but for sure if you search it, you'll find the individual's name. There's one thing I thought of when I first ran for school board. I think Pinkerton does a enrollment for 18. They sign-ups for to vote. The year I ran, I think it was like 60 or 65 people, and I sent a flyer out, whatever, to them. But maybe I'll reach out to Dr. Powers and see if there's an opportunity to maybe give a spiel at the school if there's people willing, if there's interest or not. But for people that are already registered or who are about to register to vote, I know Judy does that every year for Pinkerton. Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I'll reach out to Dr. Powers this week and see if we can get something on the books for that.
We can also, if we have the, like the PDF and the links, reach out to all of the, I don't know how many people are left still on Facebook, but to reach out to all the groups that are associated with, there's like the West Running Brook happenings and the EDMES happenings, there's like BDT and the other Derry page and everything like that, and just ask them if, I know a lot of them don't obviously want to sway one way or the other, but to post the link and post the information, and they can pin it to the top of their page, so it's kind of always there and easily accessible. That's just one more way to just be in front of people for a couple of weeks anyway.
You know any moderators at BDT?
I can do that.
So one of the things that's good segue to what I was thinking about too is we actually have 2 school board pages in Derry. We have the traditional one that's been around forever.
Neither of them are school board pages.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry. School-related, discussion-related. We probably should figure out a way to reach out to people on the one that was created a few years back. I'm probably not the right person to do that, but maybe, one of you newer guys might want to reach out to those guys and have a conversation, provide the information. We all have different points of view of what goes on, whether it's locally or nationally, but I think we all can agree that our kids need schools that have what they need, fix what they need to be fixed, and we can have some common ground there. So if someone's willing to do that, that's something I think we should really, really try to bridge that gap with people we wouldn't normally talk to, for lack of a better term. I think at this point we need to put aside any differences or notions that we may have and just try to work with everybody. So that's just a thought. If someone's willing to do that, please. I think that'd be very fruitful and worthwhile from most of the people that you would reach out to in that group.
Well, I think we have some ideas here, and we can kind of move forward and determine the time and place of a lot of these things. Yeah, I was actually just going to say one more thing while we're at it. We actually have an event that you can come to that's going to be, we're going to focus on the bond this time, and that is, it's 1 week from tonight, Tuesday the 18th, and it's going to be at West Running Brook again in the cafeteria. In the cafeteria.
So we had shared a couple different flyers with the members of the subcommittee. They're just kind of 2 different looks of mostly the same information. We don't know if you guys are leaning towards either one, or you have any feedback that you'd like us to make any changes. If you don't think it's appropriate to do it in a full board meeting, you can give us feedback later, whatever your thoughts.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. I'll get on that and do that. And I'm sure the other board members, they haven't already, will. Yeah, because we want to, obviously the flyers, the key to some distributions.
I don't think we've seen the.
You haven't. He just sent it to the subcommittee.
Gone to the committee.
It's a final. After the delivery, they finalized the one thing they've been working on since whatever December, whatever it was.
Will we have that by this weekend? Okay.
The original version looked great, so I can't imagine there's going to be many edits or thoughts. So if the three of us, we can get back to these guys, and then they can distribute to the full board by Friday. That'd be great. And okay, awesome. Don't have any other committees that met?
Manifest committee.
Yes, we got to do manifest, spend money.
Very important one. This is a big one. Hold on to your britches. I will make a motion to approve the manifest for a grand total of $9,825,454.75. That consists of general payroll of $2,234,224.34 and general expenses of $7,591,230.41.
Second.
All right, we got a first by Jonathan, second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes 7-0. Any other committee meetings? No. I know we have next on Thursday. Jonathan be going to. So that's I haven't had any other than that. So all right, other business. I think Michael covered it. Anything else anyone's got?
I had one thing.
Yeah.
Just wanted to congratulate some of our student athletes here in Derry. So my daughter and her cheer team, Derry Wolverines, on an incredible season. So New Hampshire state champs, New England regional champs. They went down and won the Florida in December. And then this past weekend, they went to Atlantic City and won the global championship there, and were grand champions with the highest score of the whole competition. So congrats to all the athletes, the coaches. They really represented Derry incredibly well on the biggest stages in this country in this sport. So kudos to all of them. And it's been a heck of a season, and they really put themselves out there and represented Derry well. So congrats to all.
No, it's awesome. That's really cool. All right. So we got one more board meeting on March 11th. Next board meeting, we have a vacation 10th. Excuse me. Geez, Monday the 10th.
Yeah. Election
so
day is
we're
the
off for a
11th.
few weeks. But all right. Well, thank you guys, everyone. Have a great night. Oh, motion to adjourn. Excuse me.
So moved.
Yeah, seriously. I'm sorry. I didn't hear the first. Sorry.
So moved.
All right. First by Jason, second by Jenna. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passed 7-0. Thank you.